Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we'll be going through the step-by-step tutorial on how to draw the African Afro hair. It's a little bit challenging and we try to avoid drawing hair whenever we can, right? But in case it's unavoidable and you probably want to take it on as your next big project, well, yes, this video is for you. So the artwork right behind me is the finished product of the hair, and I'll be uploading a series of other videos to show you the completed drawing on how I go through the face and the other parts of the body. So let's get right into it, and do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you. So the materials we'll be using for this artwork include 3 grades of charcoal pencil: medium, extra soft, sharpener, eraser, set of brushes, a graphite pencil, my mechanical pencil, mono eraser, and the electric eraser. We're going to be beginning this first layer off by simply evenly distributing charcoal over the expanse of the hair that we've outlined from our sketch. So right here I'm using an already finely grinded charcoal powder, which was grinded from charcoal stumps. You can also get charcoal powder in the closest art store near to you, or you could finely grind yours. In grinding my charcoal pencil, I made use of a sandpaper and I just rubbed the stumps against the sandpaper. So here I'm using my different brushes to evenly spread out the charcoal over the expanse of the hair as evenly as possible. So in this point in time, you just have to be really patient. This is the very messy part of the drawing, so you are not after perfection right now. So I'm using one of the brushes that I trimmed to go into the edges where I do not need the charcoal to go out of proportion. So out of my set of brushes, I trimmed the smallest of it. So this particular brush helps me do the fine highlights and tiny details in places where my hand or my bigger brushes would probably mess things up. So right now I'm using the brush to fill in the charcoal in areas around the face. I'm also making sure that the intensity of the charcoal close to the face is also the same intensity of the charcoal towards the hair, and I would go ahead and blend it all out. So here I'm trying to fill up the remaining space of hair. I'm using a different brush right now to fill in the other parts of the hair. The bigger brush has this one big swift move that just helps finally blend everything together. I'm making use of the smaller brush once again to get me those fine details very close to the face. I'm also using the second brush now to finally blend it out. If you noticed, I've stayed away from the edges of the hair because I would need to pay very close attention to it. And now I'm going right into the edges and the corners of the hair. Like I said earlier, you might really just want to take your time. Do not rush, you're not after perfection yet. And yeah, we're going on to the next layer now. If you noticed, I had to darken the shade of the background because it wasn't just to my liking. So now on to the next layer. We are here to fill in the whole expanse of the hair and create a texture of what our hair should look like. So here I'm using the medium grade charcoal pencil to fill up the expanse of the air with S-shaped lines. For this particular hairstyle, I'm using S-shaped lines because it's a very condensed Afro hair. Regardless of how combed out it was, it's a virgin Afro hair, so to speak. So there were no fine details or fine strands of hair. So if you noticed at the beginning of the layer, I drew some lines. These lines are my guides to help me understand the flow of air in those regions. I'm working closely with my reference here to establish those lines and air movements likewise. So this was a very nerve-breaking process. It took a lot of time. I'm basically filling in this S-shaped lines. I'm trying to keep it also at a reasonable distance. And I'm also careful not to let my hand smudge on the already drawn parts. I think that's one thing we artists always face. We always try to avoid smudging, so you always have to be careful. Now, because I wasn't free with my hand and my pencils, I had to arc my wrist up in the air to draw, and so it's cost me a little bit of wrist pain and also made me take breaks from time to time. So yeah, I'm also using the medium pencil to outline the edge around the face and also fill in the S lines. This part of this video is currently on 8 times speed for this current part. For some other parts of the work, I used 4 times speed, I used 6 times speed, and I also used 2 times. The total time it took me to finish the end product of this hair was an average of 9 hours, but it was never done at a stretch. I always took breaks and always had to relax my hand and my wrist from time to time. And I think as an artist, one thing we all enjoy doing is listening to music. So I took some time out also to dance and move to the tune of whatever I had my stereo playing. And it's really just therapeutic. So as you can see, I'm still following my guides on the surface to draw out the pattern and the texture of the air. And I'm really careful not to let it smudge. As much as it looks like my hand is over the parts where I'm drawing, it isn't. And due to a little bit of inconvenience, I had to move to the top of the drawing, so you'd notice the direction of my hand has changed. So here consistently I am filling in the S lines, making some short, some long, some very wobbly, some straights and the likes. I'm also doing some scaling calculations with my reference, but all in all, this is just a really flexible part of the whole drawing. If you noticed, also the direction of my S changed, and it changed because that is towards the end of the air, And like I said, it's a virgin Afro air, so it is very compounded. It's not straight, it doesn't give you fine details because of how congested it is. We are black and we love our hair. And I think the black woman also is very strong and amazing. You know, I felt so much joy working on this piece, because it made me really just understand the texture of the air and how there are different approaches to it. Now, if it were not a virgin Afro air and it had been relaxed and smoothened out a little, I would skip this process. And what I would have done was I would go with a darker shade of charcoal for my background, and I would be using my eraser to bring out the outlines. But then this is a virgin Afro air with a lot of difficulties and resilience and tenacity. And it really should also show in the drawing. So this is me laying out the S lines till I fill it in. I showed you the pencil also. That is the medium charcoal. I chose medium because I wanted it to be able to stay on the paper when I'm blending, and also give a certain level of black when I shade, but also not lose the intensity. If I went for hard, I wouldn't be able to get so much black when I'm blending, and if I went for soft and extra soft, I wouldn't be able to have a remnant of the lines or the details of the lines still show when I blend. So this is one part I know I was a little bit carefree. I didn't need to pay so much attention to my reference, as you would know, unlike other parts of the drawing where you really need to give your full attention to every part of the drawing. So I'm almost wrapping up here and we are ready to move on to the next stage. So now we are done with filling the bulk of the air with the S lines, and as you can see, it looks good already. So now what I'm going to do is I'm moving into blend. I'm using my bigger brush first to establish a very reasonable tone, and I'm going in with the other brushes. As much as I'm trying to shade, I'm still trying to maintain the intensity of the black. And you can now reason with me why I decided to move with the medium. I'm using the brush that I trimmed to do the edges, the sides around the face, and just evenly even out the edges of the hair into the background. The edges of the hair are not supposed to stand out exceedingly from the background, they are supposed to blend with the background, and that is what I'm trying to work towards. The virgin Afro hair is really amazing. Next up, I would be bringing out outlines with my electric eraser. This is also a very cool part where I did not need to look at any references and stuff. I had gotten the electric eraser specifically for this drawing because I figured it would be an hassle to really just keep going with the mono eraser, and it wouldn't give me so much details as the electric eraser would. I must say the electric eraser is a must-have for every artist, and it makes your work really easy and faster. This part of the video is going either at 6 times the speed or 8 times the speed. I'm not quite sure. But then you can see that I'm moving way faster with my electric eraser than I moved with my pencil. So intermittently I had to always bring out the tip of the eraser, and that's where you see me taking short breaks. I'd also accidentally brought out a lot. That's why you can see that tiny eraser that was at the top of the screen. So yeah, I'm just trying to fill in the remainder. At times I go with S, I go with very long lines, I go with short ones, I go with dots, I go with dashes. I'm just flexing around with it, you know. I think here is your time to play around the air, because this is the only opportunity you get. From this moment onwards, now you have to really pay very close attention to your reference. I really think this electric eraser is worth its money. It's very expensive, but not so expensive, but it definitely is worth it. So I'm almost done, and I go around the edges a little, some more fine details here and there, and boom, there we have it. So next up, I'm moving into trying to outline the darker regions in my drawing. It looks good already, even with just the pencil and the erasing. It looks really good, I must say, and I was very pleased myself. So I'm trying to outline the very dark regions here, and I'm starting from the base of the ear. And then what I'm doing now is I'm trying to go in very circular motions, and I'm using my extra soft to do these details. So my extra soft allows me a very darker shade, and it also allows me a very amazing blending when I need to. So I'm just going all in, and as you can see, I'm moving in circular motions. I'm not moving in S motions because, like I said, the air is a virgin Afro air. We all know how the virgin Afro air is, and if you do not, let me just give a very brief rundown. If you have a virgin Afro air, even after you comb it, it has natural curls, and it's just going to come back down. It's going to roll and twist and all of that. So the virgin air has a lot of curls and twists, but they are never defined, and they are never evenly distributed, and that's just one of the beauty of virgin air. I'm putting in more highlights, so as you can see, I'm choosing to use my extra soft to put in the very darker shades, and I'm working with my medium also and soft to just put in my circles all over the drawing. Yeah, I'm working very closely with my reference. And I'm just working with the whole expanse of air, yeah. I'm filling in the blacks where they need to be, and I'm trying to put the details as I can. Well, one thing as an artist you would need to be very good at is your scaling. Give me a bit of a tough time here, because when you miss your scaling, your work would not be able to look exactly like your reference. So I'm still going all in with my pencil. I'm paying attention to the edges, and I'm bringing it back into the drawing. And I'm almost done. So this is another layer. So if we go through the layers that we've done so far, the first layer was to lay our charcoal. The second layer was to use our pencil to draw our S shape. The third layer was to blend our S shape. The fourth layer was to use our mono eraser. The fifth layer was to put a darker background with the highlights. And now onto the sixth layer, we are now using our electric mono eraser. The eraser at the tip of the electric eraser is a very fine tip. And this is the sixth layer, and we are trying to outline details in our drawing. And you can see there's a little bit of hesitation. I am doing some calculations on the paper, and as you see later in this drawing, my calculation around this point was wrong and I had to redo it. So I'm also working with my brushes. I'm blending and erasing and adding my fine details. I'm working in very close conjunction with my reference, and I am not drawing outside of my reference. And if you would agree with me, the air looks like it's coming to life, but it's not done yet. So yeah, I'm just adding more fine details and more fine details. I'm very cautious of my hand, trying not to smudge the work, paying attention to the edges, the corners of the air. Trying to put as much details and highlights as I can. I'm going in also with my electric eraser. Putting in some darker shades. I'm also bringing out lighter backgrounds. The air looks good already, but it's not finished because there are more details to be put in. And let me tell you realistically, as an artist, you shouldn't need to rush. I can tell you if I decided to even still sit with the finished work and go through it step by step, I would still be able to find one or two things I could add. I've spent 9 hours on this particular air by the time we get to the finished product, but you can never put enough details in the air, and that's just for certain. So I'm going in now with my mono eraser to just add fine details. So my mono eraser here is doing a perfect job, but it's not giving me as much intensity as my electric eraser would. That is why I am staying with it. I'm darkening the areas that need more shade. And I'm also walking around blending some areas. Now I'm very careful not to blend too much so that I do not lose the intensity I've worked on for, but I'm just doing it very rather subtly. So now the air looks very rough and undefined, which is more like the virgin air. It has no particular pattern, it just goes all up in the air. I'm adding fine details as much as I can and also working around with my brush. So I decided to add more fine details, and I'm going in with my electric eraser, but this time around I am not going very strong on the paper because I'm trying to preserve my paper, but I'm slightly using the eraser to just move over the surface. I'm also doing some recalculations and reshading, increasing the black, working out patterns and how it should go and be. I used to keep my nails because I think I just naturally like them long, not short. But from time to time when I want to work on large works, I tend to cut them off, as there is the tendency of me injuring the paper with my nails, because there are times where you need to bend your wrist, arc your wrist, keep your hands in the air, and you just never can tell with those nails. So as you can see, my nails in this video are short. If you have long nails, it's also not a problem. You just have to be extra careful. So yeah, I'm going in with my graphite pencil, and I'm using my graphite pencil to work over the areas I've done a little bit of highlights. I'm also using my mono eraser. I'm trying to work fine details and fine outlines. I'm going in with my mechanical pencil to give me that very light shade of the strands of air. So now I'm working in between my graphite pencil, my charcoal, my mono eraser, my mechanical pencil. And now, just like I said, if you remember earlier, I told you I made a miscalculation, and right there I'm correcting it. I'm not sure if you noticed that, but you can take the video back if you didn't catch that. I'm going in with more shades of black over the air. Because the lightning is coming from the right hand side, so the areas at the back of the air have a little bit more black. I'm also using my mono eraser to create little highlights here and there. My charcoal pencil likewise. This is a 9-hour work that has been cropped into a less than 40 minutes video. I'm using my graphite pencil to go all around to give it a little layer of black and not so white. and here it's looking like my hair was to pop from the paper. For my next video, I would probably be working on a non-virgin Afro hair, so that we just treat the two together. Just like I had said earlier, this work is a full work, so I would be uploading the other parts of the work, the face and the body, thereafter. I'm also working through with my mechanical pencil to draw the fine strands of hair that are coming from the bulk of the hair itself, and I'm just working my way through that. I'm going through the drawing. I'm starting from the base of the hair, and I'm going on and on, just finally distributing it, and it looks amazing already. Doing some finishing touches. I'm going in with my mono eraser once again. Some fine highlights that need to be made. I'm going in longer strokes of erasing now, and also just creating those highlights. I'm also working towards the edges of the hair. Now I'm back using my mechanical pencil to draw the fine strands of hair, and here I'm very careful not to allow my hand smudge the larger parts of the hair. I'm just going round and round all over the drawing loose strands of hair. Now you don't need a particular pattern for this. You could follow whatever concept you want. You're just drawing loose strands of hair. You do not need a book for that. Just draw as it comes to you. You could move in circular motions, you could move in S motions, you could move in simple motions. I decided to add a little bit more highlights, a little bit more black in the back of the hair. And I'm just moving gently round and round. I'm going in now with my graphite pencil. This is my graphite very dark shade, and I'm going in with little movements in the air, little outlines that need to be made. Also using my electric eraser to do fine highlights. Like I said, if you put in more time, you would notice more details and more fine additions that can be made.